This props contest, by the way, reeks of something my man Kyle Madson would love.
Hey, man.
Kyle,
It
what's
is.
anybody?
So typically with contests like this, it's like we can't win, right?
Yeah.
So I'm just like, cool, we'll do the reads and we'll get it done. When I found out that BetQL was doing this, and this is not a thing that like I have to do, I'm telling you this for real. I'm joining and I'm doing it.
Oh,
Like, I
for
can't
sure.
wait.
I'm all about it. Yeah, like
Cannot wait.
I can get down with something like this. And by the way, can I point out is Kyle Madson, the Prince of Niners Wire, and of course of 95.7 The Game in San Francisco as well, joins us. For those that are listening on the Odyssey app and on 1320 AM, can I just tell you, I really appreciate that shirt you're wearing, the hoodie.
Thanks,
it
man.
says, "I feel like Game 6 Clay." That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, I needed it today. I knew I had to bring it for you. And I said, it's cold in my house. I'm going to grab my hoodie.
Mm-hmm.
I forewent the D'Lo and KC hoodie, which I wear daily, basically.
You do.
And we got Klay Thompson coming back on Sunday. It looks like, not official. It looks like he's coming back Sunday against the Cavs. I figured this is a good time to break out this hoodie.
So is anybody else going to be playing with Klay on Sunday, or is it just,
No,
you know what, we're just going to load up the injury report and let Klay have the day to himself?
Yeah, it's gonna be like Klay Thompson, Chris Chiozza. They might sprinkle in some Moses Moody minutes.
It's fantastic.
And just those three guys against Evan Mobley and Darius Garland. Can't wait. It's gonna be great.
I'm all for Moses Moody. I'm all for it.
Who was that was hosting that night?
I think it was Reese, if I remember correctly.
Reese Davis. Yeah, that's right. Reese Davis going, Moses Moody, like spit it out. That's the best part.
There's so many great parts about that clip, including the faint voice in the background saying Moses Malone. That's arguably my favorite part.
I haven't heard that. That's funny.
That's my favorite part. So as we shift gears from Game 6 Clay, by the way, which Game 6 exactly? Because I feel like you could take your pick.
Right. Yeah, I think I always point to the Oklahoma City one.
Yeah, I knew that. Stop. I don't want to talk about that one anymore.
That was great.
Yeah.
Russell Westbrook.
Don't put that on Russ. Don't put that series on Russ. Don't put that series on Russ. We're not.
Hey, congratulations, by the way. Your guy snapped his 407 game turnover streak. Just really good stuff. I mean, awesome job for Russ. Let's clap it out. Really, really excited. I forgot to text you about that.
Yeah, you know what? That's actually amazing that you didn't text that night that streak broke. It really is amazing that you didn't text about that. We were talking about unbreakable records. We'll get to the 49ers and Rams in just a minute. One of the conversations that came up during the commercial, it didn't make live air. Someone asked about like Kobe's 81. Can you see someone breaking Kobe's 81? And obviously the record is 100. That seems out of reach. I didn't think, even when Kobe scored 81, I thought, someone could probably get to 100. Then I saw Klay go for 37 in like half a quarter against Sacramento. And then I thought, okay, someone can score 100. And the way I looked at it is you'd have to have like 65 like in the first half. And then it's like, okay, I've got a shot at this. And the rest of the team's like, okay, he's got a shot at this. And you go Devin Booker, Phoenix Suns 71 style, and you just make sure he gets the ball. Because the thing we always point out about that game with Klay is no one caught on to what was happening until like there were 4 minutes left in the quarter. Klay scored, 37 points. He scored a ton in like the final 4.5 minutes.
Yeah. The most incredible thing about that was it wasn't like the Kings were playing bad defense. Like, I think they threw like Ray McCallum and Nick Stauskas out. Like, there were several shots where those guys are like in his jersey, like playing good defense. And he still, like, that was incredible. The other incredible Klay thing that, to your point about scoring 100 in a game, he had that 60-point game in 29 minutes against Indiana.
Yeah.
And it's like, man, if you want to play 40 minutes, you have 60 and you have 11 more minutes to go get 22 points to beat 81. Like, yeah, that can happen for sure. Yeah. The problem is if you're scoring that many points in the modern NBA, you're probably blowing the other team out.
Right.
And so if you're scoring that many, you're probably not playing 40 minutes.
Right.
That I think will be the hang-up.
And we've seen Kobe score 60 in three quarters and then, sit the fourth. As we transition now with the Prince of Niners Wire and the host of Candlestick Chronicles over to the San Francisco 49ers and the Los Angeles Rams, I'm going to ask you a question that I just asked Trista a second ago. Does it matter? Is it a huge deal given the way Kyle Shanahan plays, given the way I'm assuming he wants to approach this game? Is it really that big of a deal who starts at quarterback?
I don't think so. At least not in the short term, because there's going to be pros and cons. Like for everything you can say about Garoppolo's experience, and he's beaten the Rams. I think he's 4-0 against them, and he knows the offense, and it's a good pass rush. And you want a guy that's going to get rid of the ball quickly and get rid of the ball quickly to the right spot. You can argue, okay, well, Lance can move the pocket a little more. They're going to throw the ball down the field. It stresses the Rams vertically, as well as, what they're going to be able to do in the run game. So like there's pros and cons both ways. And I think the Niners offense is going to generate points and yards. The hang up I have, and I guess this is a little bit kind of been the conversation all year, is if you think Garoppolo is hampered in some way and you're having to adjust your game plan for a quarterback who has a torn ligament in the thumb on his right hand, I think you have to look at the long term with Lance. And you're giving him the keys next year. Come OTAs in 5 months, he's the guy. He's your QB1. Mm-hmm. You have what is effectively a playoff game here, and you have an opportunity to start him under the not guise isn't the word I'm looking for, but under the guise of Garoppolo's hurt. Like, our starting quarterback's hurt. We're gonna give him, and you
have an excuse.
Yeah, an excuse. Mm-hmm. Thank you.
I got you.
It just makes sense to me if you're going to generate basically the same offense, you're going to generate in a different way. But if you think you can generate the same offense, like why not add the experience? I mean, he looked good enough against the Texans to me to warrant a start against the Rams if Garoppolo is hampered in some way.
And that's something like Eric Davis brought this up yesterday when he joined us. He was like, I think you have more of the playbook when Jimmy. If Jimmy is out there for Kyle Shanahan, you have more of the playbook. And I guess in theory that's accurate, but I feel like maybe you have a different portion of the playbook if you have Trey Lance out there, because I feel like Trey can do things that either Jimmy Garoppolo can't do or doesn't necessarily do.
Right.
Like we're looking for Jimmy to throw the ball 6 yards to Kittle or Debo.
Right. And letting them run after the catch. But you theoretically have the whole playbook. We saw the videos of him throwing in practice, but that's throwing on air.
Yeah.
That's not with a pocket collapsing around him. And is he going to favor that thumb where he doesn't want to get hit? So, maybe he doesn't get rid of the ball when he should, or he short arms a throw because he doesn't want to hit his hand on an oncoming rusher. And now he's sailing it to the safety. Like he does that when he's healthy. So that would be my kind of counterpoint to that. And I get what he's saying, but if you're having to take, okay, here's a whole playbook for Garoppolo. Okay, but we have to pare it down because he can't make these 6 throws or whatever it is. Mm-hmm. That's a pretty significant problem. I think we wind up probably seeing both of them at some point. I don't know in what capacity, but mm-hmm. that seems to be the way it's trending.
Yeah, it definitely feels like Jimmy will go first. That's the impression I got, is like at worst Jimmy's going to go first. I feel like the idea is for Jimmy Garoppolo to play the whole game, not do the quarterback shuffle, but it's also like we're going to watch everything really closely.
But why would you even, but that's the thing. So why would you even do that? If you're that worried, it doesn't make sense. I mean, the guy, if you lose and the Saints win, the guy's not going to be on your team in 2 months anyways.
I'm with you.
He's playing it. Yeah.
It just, as soon as I saw the tweets yesterday, Jimmy Garoppolo, crisp throws here in practice. I felt like he was throwing good enough. They basically put him out there like a circus animal. Okay, you're good enough. Let's go put you in front of the media and let everybody frame the narrative for themselves. Complete a couple of passes to Kittle, to Debo, and people will write this themselves. That when we make the decision or when we announce the decision on Sunday morning, everyone's like, yeah, we've kind of been seeing this trend coming along since Thursday.
I will say this, though. If he goes out and starts, mm-hmm. plays the whole game, and they win, to send them to the playoffs, to get them to 10 wins, you beat the Rams for a 6th time, this Goliath Rams team with Matthew Stafford and Odell Beckham and Von Miller and Aaron Donald and Jalen Ramsey.
No salary cap, apparently.
No, right. Salary cap doesn't matter. If he goes out and wins that game, like you're looking at like a iconic type of Bay Area sports performance. That is the man, Jimmy Garoppolo went out there. He's never been able to play hurt before, but gutted it out with a torn ligament in his thumb. He's going to have off-season surgery. We're going to, wow, he needed surgery, but man, he went out and beat the Rams. And then if they go win a playoff game, that's when I think that has to be considered. While we sit here and say oh, why would he start? If he does and he wins, it's going to be a pretty remarkable thing.
But I disagree.
Okay.
Let me rephrase that.
I'm leaving, man.
If he, I'm glad you stayed this long. If he throws for 350 yards, I'm with you. But if it's a typical Jimmy game of 200 touchdown, and then Elijah Mitchell has 150, I feel like the credit's going to go to Kyle Shanahan. Oh, that offensive genius, boy. He played to his strengths here, and Jimmy did a hell of a job, gutting this out. But man, that Kyle Shanahan, boy, put him in the Hall of Fame today.
Yeah, that will definitely be the case as well. But I think that the story will be written because, when Garoppolo got hurt and we found out the extent of the injury, it's wow, his season's over. Yeah. It's Lance. What are they going to do with this guy who's never started? Well, okay, he misses one game, comes back, guts it out. He's talking about how bad it hurts. I just think the lead up to this point has been all about, wow, he's throwing through all this pain. We have to see how it reacts. We know that he said it's the web in his thumb is tearing. Mm-hmm. That's all been written. So yeah, I mean, you're right. It's not like he's going to go throw for 350 and 4 touchdowns. That's just not him. He's not going to go do that.
That's a story if he does.
Yeah, right. That's a whole other thing. It's what is he taking? I need some.
Yeah.
No, it's if he goes 19 for 26 for 248 and 2 touchdowns, I still think the story is, wow, he gutted it out and he had a Jimmy Garoppolo game despite this potentially debilitating injury.
And I feel like that's super realistic, the numbers that you just put out there. Because one thing I think Jimmy normally can do is play within himself. He understands his limitations, and he'll understand. And that includes not just his game-to-game limitations, but the limitations that his hand is going to cause, his thumb is going to cause. And he'll know that pass that we saw Trey make to Debo at that really kind of sealed the win against the Texans last week. He ain't gonna make that.
No,
that pass ain't happening. But
he wouldn't make that healthy.
That's true. That's very true. But he'll find Debo slanting 5 yards away from him. He'll find that. You said Trey Lance played good enough last week. Is that your assessment of him, or what was your assessment of Trey Lance last week?
Yeah, so in talking to people after the game, because the offense looked so disjointed in the early going, and it looked just like it did in week 5 against Arizona when they only scored 10 points. It was kind of man, there's just an issue with this guy that Shanahan hasn't figured out yet how to compensate for it. But then in the second half, well, in the last drive of the first half where they got the field goal, and then throughout the second half, it felt like the Niners offense, just with a quarterback that was throwing the ball down the field instead of taking the shorter throws and the little dump offs and just trying to let his receivers go make a play. Lance was throwing the ball down the field, but it looked generally like it wasn't anything crazy exotic. It wasn't all these weird fake handoffs. They moved the pocket a little bit for him and got him into space where he could set his feet and throw. But that second half, it was oh, this is what it can look like. And he's capable of making the throws without throwing a bad interception, which he didn't in the second half. I thought all the stuff that he did wrong was pretty correctable. The fact that he got better as the game went on made me optimistic that if he had to play against the Rams, he would be fine. But I thought, the first half he missed a couple throws. The interception was really bad, but he should have thrown another interception at the end of the half. They got tipped into Brandon Ayuk's hands right before the field goal. So there were some things that were concerning, but like I said, in the second half, he was really, really good.
You referenced Kyle Madson with us, 95.7 The Game in San Francisco, Candlestick Chronicles, Niners Wire. He's got 27 jobs. Do you think he was better than week 5?
Way better, like
Oh, okay.
substantially.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was enough to be like, wow, he's been doing this without playing. Like there's always going to be that what if, especially if they miss the playoffs. There's
Mhm.
always going to be that what if of, man, what if he'd started from week 1? What would he look like? And I think that you could argue both sides. Like he would have gotten way better, or man, he got better because he didn't have to go put his feet in the fire of the NFL. He had to kind of sit back and learn at a slower pace.
From a fan's perspective, not as a, analyst and writer and all of the wonderful things that you do, but just a fan's perspective, like, how do you feel about this game?
I feel like honestly, my bigger concern is their secondary. Like that's the concern. Like Kyle Shanahan's going to be able to put up points against the Rams, and they always defensively seem to have a really good plan against LA. They're going to be close, but if it's like Ambry Thomas, they just activated off the COVID list,
Mm-hmm.
and it sounds like Emmanuel Mosley's going to play.
Mm-hmm.
So those are probably your 2 starting corners. But then it's like Josh Norman, and if nobody else gets cleared off the COVID list, that means no Jimmy Ward. That means he's your best coverage player straight up, whether that's man or playing that deep safety role. And then it's like practice squad guys at corner. And against the Rams, who are rolling out Odell Beckham Jr. and Cooper Kupp and Van Jefferson and Tyler Higbee at tight end and what they can do in the running game, it's like, man, I don't know how the 49ers would get stops in that situation. So that's kind of the larger concern I would have with the 49ers. And a Rams team that's going to be super motivated. Like they've lost to this team 5 times in a row. They got embarrassed by them in week 10.
That's why I hate this game for the 49ers from a
Right.
sports psychology standpoint.
Totally.
It's like the Rams are like, dude, we're not losing to them again. I don't give a damn what's on the line today. It could be week 6. We're not losing to this team again.
So that's gonna be kind of one of the fascinating angles, because when you look at this week, like some of the point spreads are insane. Like there's like a 14-point spread and a 16-point spread. Yeah, because you have the Bills playing the Jets. The Jets aren't playing anything. The Bills need to win. The Titans favored by 10 over the Texans on the road, because the Titans are playing for the 1 seed. Like they need to win. And so I think that dynamic's really interesting going into this week, where the Rams have their playoff spot locked up. They still want to win the division, but the Niners need to win. Like the Saints are playing the Falcons. The Falcons are terrible. We've seen it. So the Niners are basically in a must-win situation, whereas the Rams, yeah, they would probably like to win. But is that added level of desperation enough for San Francisco to help them overcome any talent deficiency they might have? Maybe. It's a hard maybe for sure. But that's what I'm going to be watching for. Early on in the game, are the Niners the more physical team? Do they come out and they're flying around in a way that's like, oh man, they came to play today? And do the Rams pack it in at that point, or do the Rams start punching back?
I also wonder what the Cooper Kupp aspect of the game may wind up being. Like, are they going to actively try to go out there and get him these records? Because I said earlier, like if he gets the receptions record, he's probably getting the yards record. Just simple math puts that together. But what was it? 12? I had the number earlier. I think it's 12 receptions. That's a lot. Like 12 receptions in a single game. Like that's a lot to break the record.
But that's also just like, I feel like that's just a Cooper Kupp game. Like, I don't know how many times he's done that this year. But if you told me Cooper Kupp had 12 for $180 and 2 touchdowns in a game, he's gone 11 twice, 13 once, and 10 twice. So yeah, it's not outrageous to think that he would go 12 catches for 180 plus yards. And and if he did that, it wouldn't be like, man, they force fed Cooper Kupp. It would be like, hey, they got the ball to their best player against a beat up secondary.
Yeah. But I also I agree and get your point. But if the first 4 passes go to Cooper Kupp, like it's kind of like, all right, well, they're going to try to get this guy the record.
And to that point, does Van Jefferson, a second-year player, like you hear about this in the NBA a lot, guys kind of standing around and watching the good players. Does Van Jefferson, a second-year player, kind of check out? Does Odell Beckham Jr., who just got there in the last few weeks and is probably looking ahead to the playoffs, just goes, all right, this isn't a game for me. I'm out of here. Like I'm not.
Mhm.
That's where things get interesting for sure.
Well, we know. I mean, Matt Stafford. Like I think the record. This just dawned on me. The record's Calvin Johnson's record.
Hmm.
Did that come from Matt Stafford, or
Yes.
did that come from?
Yes. No, it's Matthew Stafford. It definitely wasn't Joey
John,
Harrington or John Kitna or
I was gonna
whatever.
say John Kitna. John Kitna once threw for like 5,000 yards,
Yeah,
and
he had that one weird good year.
Detroit finished like 2-14 or something that year. But still, it's impressive. It's impressive. You mentioned Emmanuel Mosley. Kyle Shanahan did say this morning Emmanuel Mosley is going to go. Is that, given what you just laid out with the secondary, is it, that's got to be a big boost for them, right?
Yeah. Well, yeah, because until he's officially activated, Josh Norman is their only healthy corner. And
Mm-hmm.
now Ambry Thomas, who's been activated off the COVID list. But Shanahan said that all the DBs that are on the COVID list have a chance to be cleared by Sunday. So my guess is it's not going to be like Dyer. It's Mosley and Thomas and Norman are their three corners with some practice squad guys. I don't think that'll be the case. But the fact they have Mosley back, he is so far and away their best corner that had just having him on the field, regardless of the rest of the situation, like you feel that much better about it.
We talked about the different scenarios for Kyle. Kyle Shanahan, but it would be with the quarterbacks, Jimmy Garoppolo and Trey Lance, and the different stat lines they could have, the different elements that they bring to the game. Ultimately, I feel like this is about Elijah Mitchell. This is about Deebo Samuel. This is about establishing the run game and dominating the clock. That's how the 49ers beat the Rams earlier this season, or at least the last time they beat them. That 11-minute drive to start the game that set the tone for everything. And the Rams, in their 4 losses, they've been bullied. They've been dominated. Their time of possession in those games has just been minuscule.
They can get pushed around a little bit, and when you force them to be one dimensional like that was such a key thing. You brought up that Week 10 matchup. Jimmy Ward gets the pick. Niners go 11, 12 minutes, whatever it was. They score a touchdown. Stafford comes back, throws the pick six. Now it's 14-0. Now the Rams, their run game's really effective. Darrell Williams and now Cam Akers is back. They have Sony Michel. That's a really good running back room, but I think they ran it 12 times. Like they just didn't they couldn't get their run game off the ground because they were just playing from such a deep hole early on. So you're right, man. The Rams can be pushed around a little bit. Matthew Stafford is susceptible to a bad turnover or 2 or 3 or 4. So, like the Niners,
and at least one of those will go for 6 in the other direction.
Right. And I think he has 4 consecutive games or something like that
That's
with a pick 6. That's crazy. That's hard to do. It's honestly impressive.
That's Matt Schaub's status right there. Like that's impressive.
Is he I have a thing to say. Can I derail this real quick?
Yeah.
Is Matthew Stafford the Russell Westbrook of quarterbacks?
All right, that's Kyle Madson, host of Candlestick Chronicles.
No playoff wins. Turnovers. Puts up big numbers though. No? Nothing? You got an itch? Okay. I get it.
You know, the jacked up part is I'm thinking about it.